Hey guys, what's up? I've got a couple more invasions today. These are actually higher level invasions around soul level 120 in contrast to a lot of what I've been doing lately, which are typically invasions around soul level 36, 45. I found myself going back to the lower level invasions just because I got so tired of getting my teeth kicked in some of these higher level invasions. Especially, I was spending a lot of time in Gank City at Pontiff, and the other night I had, I think, 12 invasions, and of those 12 I won 2. It was just awful and so bad for your morale, just get your teeth kicked in like that constantly. But here at Dragonkin Mausoleum and later Dragon Barracks, I tend to do quite a bit better. You'll see here this first invasion, I managed to track the party down here, and obviously, as usual, you've got at least one phantom here. And I see he's using the Black Knight Greatsword, and that's not a typical sword that you see from most people. And I see here he's got a ranking in the arena next to his name, which doesn't mean a ton, but it does mean something. It means that they do PvP at least somewhat, so they're not going to be a complete noob. And anyone that tries to use Perseverance has at least some idea of how to play the game. One thing that I was really looking for an opportunity here was to try out something that I've wanted to try for a while, which is to parry somebody using Perseverance, because people attack so predictably out of Perseverance, but I didn't get a chance this invasion. So here I'm trying to draw these guys over, and here I see them and I feign like I'm out of stamina just to try to bring them in a little closer. These rock lobsters, or whatever the hell you call them, these things are for real, man. I mean, these things will knock you off the cliff. They're really difficult to deal with, and this is actually a great situation for me. There I break his guard, but I don't have any time to really do anything about it. So I'm obviously taking advantage of this situation here while I can. And there I wait for the panic roll and catch it. So the host decides to make his way in here too, and you can see very quickly there, those guys nearly killed me with just a couple of R1s. These higher levels, man, it does not take much for them to kill you. And unfortunately, this dragon here, he damages me just like them with his fire breath, which makes my situation a little precarious. And there they were chasing me down. I had to do some turn and burns to get some healing room. The host here I see kind of disappears. I didn't catch a glimpse of where he ran off to. Just when I thought I was going to be able to take this blue out, I have to Estus, and we reset. Fortunately, he's attacking pretty predictably into my hyper armor, so I'm able to trade with him, and obviously the trades are quite favorable for me. Notice this guy likes to block a lot with his weapon, which can be a good strategy sometimes, and I'm kind of curious to hear what other people have to say about this. When I watch a lot of high-level players play, I see them do that pretty consistently, and I do it sometimes. And generally when I do it, it's because I think one of a couple things may happen. One, the other player's using a quick, fast weapon. I guess that's the same thing, a quick, like a Karthus or maybe Katana running attack, something where I may not actually roll in time, I may not react in time, and I can block it. Or if I'm trying to pressure somebody so I can stay right on their nuts, and even if they do an attack, like a rolling attack when they're rolling away, they won't break my guard. But I think real consistent use of that blocking can be dangerous if you don't really watch your stamina, because it's easy to get your guard crushed. I don't know what the stability of the S stock is, but it's probably not very high. And a lot of times, the way that the block works is if you block one R1, you've signed up to block the second one too, and 2 R1s from a greatsword have got to come close to breaking your guard. But anyway, I see the host is summoning again. He's summoned in that same gold again, and this can frankly get tiresome sometimes, but it also makes me want to try really hard. Yeah, of course I get the welcome gesture. I'll tell you what, like, you can debate about the resummoning, whether hosts should do that or not. I mean, I think largely it's the fault of From for implementing a feature like that, and I use air quotes around feature. But I can tell you one thing, if I were playing with my buddies and I had to get resummoned after an invader had just kicked my ass, I probably would not have the temerity to gesture like that, especially when it was 2 and 3 on 1. So here I'm just trying to use this as a choke point here. And I noticed that this host loves that weapon art, and I've kind of filed that point away for later. I come out here where the footing's a bit more treacherous, because as a general rule, and I think I learned this from Saint Riot, the host and his phantoms are generally going to be less comfortable than you are on treacherous footing, so use that to your advantage. Just like chaos runs to your advantage, and obviously the Sunbro fell off, and so the host is booking it back to the bonfire, certainly in hopes of resummoning his army. And right now I've just got so much focus because in my view there's just no way in hell I'm going to let this host get away with this. He's had 2 blues, 2 oranges already. Of course there's the weapon art, so I'm able to circle around for a backstab, and because I was watching earlier I noticed and knew that he would go for that. Thought for sure I'd get the attack out of stun there and the parry, but it wasn't there. And I'm able to chase him down. And he gets a point down for the wave of resummoning. So these next couple clips, man, these are pretty fun. One of Saint Riot's last streams, he was invading, and typically a bunch of us will join the stream and sign in with our similar leveled characters and kind of invade in the same area, or use the dried fingers if we haven't beaten the area boss, and sometimes Saint will invade us, we'll invade him, and it's a ton of fun. And one of the really cool things is you get to play with some of the other people in chat, and in this particular case I saw that I saw some commotion. I come around the corner and I see that dreaded sight. I'm up against 4 different players, which is almost unwinnable unless they're really bad and you can get them to peel off one by one and take them on. But trying to take on 4 players at once is almost certain suicide, especially nowadays, man. I mean, when the game first came out, and here I see there's another invader here to help me, so I'm kind of excited about that. When the game first came out, in like say up until maybe November, December of 2016, you'd find a lot of inexperienced gankers, and you could just totally trash them. Nowadays, at least on PS4, I gather on PC with the Steam sale, maybe you've got a lot more noobs, but there just aren't that many people that are really inexperienced. And even dealing with 4 okay players is incredibly difficult as an invader. So the blue hangs around for a while when the rest of the crew went off after the other invader. I try to take advantage of it to kill him, and I've got him so low. But to chase him any further, I'm either at risk of hitting the other red or getting killed myself, so I have to split away from him. And I pick up this other phantom. You're trying to invade in a situation where there's another invader around. Of course, friendly fire is on. That's by far, I think, the biggest challenge. And I go for the backstab and don't get it and eat the R1 for my troubles. But trying not to hit the other invader, trying to coordinate without actually talking to one another, making sure that you're splitting up the opposition correctly. And man, I catch him in a roll catch loop here and come so close to killing him. But that's such a difficult thing to do. And in this situation with 4 different players, if the other invader hadn't been good, this would have never worked out. He would have gotten killed, and then they would have all ganged up on me and I would have died. That's what keeps happening to me in Gank City these days. I end up invading alongside some garbage invaders, and you need the help against 4 players. I'm obviously not paying too much attention to what the other red's doing. And there I see suddenly he killed the host. I can't figure out who it is, and then I realize it's Makoto from chat, and I was super excited. It became clear too why we were able to win. He is a very, very good player. I've dueled him a number of times, and we've, I think, split him pretty evenly. Very, very skilled player. So here we come into sort of a similar circumstance. This is from sort of that same time of Saint stream. I see there's another invader getting his shit pushed in, so I'm rushing in part to save him, but also because I know I'm going to need the backup. Because if there's 2 invaders, that means generally there's a large number of phantoms. So here I'm just trying to give him some cover so he can heal, do whatever he needs to do. I still haven't seen who it is or if I know him. But I see that the invader's doing something really smart. He's rolling through and trying to get on their other side, and I'm not sure if he's trying to flank them or if he's trying to go after the host. But this is really helpful because then we are able to get the phantom split apart. Having both invaders next to each other is a really bad situation because neither of us can really attack confidently without being worried about hitting the other one. In one-on-one, Yorms isn't that bad, but as a gank, it becomes scary as hell. But as long as I can keep this guy away, I'm good. And I see my invader friend rushing in, so I try to give him some cover because he's rolling out probably because he needs to heal. And that was some bad play on my part there. And that was so smart, man, that the red, who I promptly hit for his trouble, saw what was happening, saw that the blue had his back exposed and was able to run in and get the backstab. My guess is he did that unlocked. One thing I'm really realizing is I need to improve my unlock play game because I think especially backstabs are much more easily gotten with unlocked play. I see he's doing the Lord's work over here. I switched to my greatsword because trying to face another greatsword with just a straight sword can be really difficult. In a duel situation, with enough time, I can space them out, make them commit to attacks, and then counterattack. But in an invasion situation, I need something with hyper armor that can trade if need be. Not sure what he was trying to do here. And the host suddenly makes an appearance when he sees him about to end the blue's life. The host, I realize here, his game is to kind of hang outside the fray and just continually resummon all of his buddies. The Perseverance weapon art is really a great weapon art, but when you keep using it over and over like that, it just becomes a "I'm about to swing" announcement, and I start to question the value of it, especially when your opponent has shown that he will not keep swinging into your Perseverance. I think Perseverance, especially as like a surprise, is great, and this guy just completely lags out. I swing at him a couple more times just to make sure he's dead. But Perseverance is best as a surprise. I think if you catch somebody and they're not expecting it, it can be really valuable. And here now we've got just the blue and the host left, and so the invader and I have to do a good job of trying to coordinate our attacks. Obviously the host is priority. And now the blue's dead, so now we get to try to chase the host down. And I know with as good as this invader is, it's just a matter of time. We'll be able to kill him before he can resummon. I really wish I could have seen this same invasion from the other invader's perspective. I think it would have been really interesting. I feel like he did most of the work and I just kind of kept the other phantoms off his back. I'm about to run out of recording time here. It actually turned out to be Sir Grey Fox, who is another fantastic competitor.